Welcome back to the channel, and today we have finally gotten some news about the next free update for Jurassic World Evolution 3, what they're calling Update 1.1, and this is the update that we have been waiting for news about. After last week it was announced that they would have some information for us, and obviously this one, as you can see here, is all about the Kentrosaurus, so I thought I would just go over the information that they've given us in this website post. I'm not going to do anything fancy with the editing here because frankly I've edited 3 videos this week, so this one's just going to be quite simple. So the first thing that they've announced is that next week the Kentrosaurus family unit, as they're calling it, is coming to the game, and they've got a nice screen cap here of the family. The baby looks very cute, I have to say. I'm going to guess, judging on the patterning, that this is the male in the foreground and the female is the one in the background. I'm going to guess, like most of the stegosaurs, that the sexual dimorphism is going to be relatively limited, probably just solely based on size and pattern, which is a bit disappointing, but it is what it is. And yeah, we're told that it's going to get along well with sauropods and ornithomimids, which is basically standard for any stegosaur in the game. The big piece of news is here that from January next year, every single month we're going to get a new family unit from those base game animals that we are missing. So every single month there's going to be something new coming to the game in the form of a returning base game species. Now that is interesting. It's going to keep the hype going for the game quite a bit as we look forward to each new species. There is more than 12 that is on the list of species that are to return, I think, from what I remember. So it will be interesting to see if that carries on into the year following, 2027, if they continue releasing them every single month until they've released all the base game species. I'm really hoping that we'll get a Margosaurus quite early. I would like at least one of the 3 missing smaller sauropods back quite fast, because I think it's just really necessary. That is very good news. I actually think that's a really good way of doing it. Instead of waiting for sort of 2 or 3 months and then releasing a couple, releasing one every single month, it just keeps us excited for the future. The rest of the post talks about the major things that are changing with the update. So there's a few fixes to allow the dinosaurs to move around easier. There's a few new keyboard shortcuts. Finally, they're adding some improvements to the LODs for PC players. That's been one of the criticisms of the game. I've seen quite a bit that the shadow LODs and the plant LODs are pretty poor on PC. When you zoom out and zoom in, there's so much pop in. So it's nice that we finally get some actual quality controls for this, although that probably is going to be a performance hit. So do take note of that if you're on lower end PCs. And the issue of feathered dinosaurs looking a bit bizarre, which is something else I've seen around, that's also going to be fixed, which is good. We have some fixes for Sandbox. We're finally going to be able to build more than one operations building again. I don't know why that has had to be re-added. I mean, it's another Jurassic World Evolution 2 feature that they're having to re-add in Evolution 3. You know, they're making the same errors again. But I'm glad that they're sorting it out a lot quicker than, say, unlimited feeders. God, do you remember how long it took us to get them in Evolution 2? There's some other generic fixes in regards to juveniles being hunted, being able to build pylons between islands on the island generator map. There's some improvements for the dinosaur encounter attraction to make sure that the encounters happen properly and they have a new animation. This one I know Evo will be particularly happy about. We're going to have a biome filter label for the foliage scenery items in the modular building menu so that we can filter foliage by biome. I know that was something that Evo really wanted, so at least Frontier listens to her. But that'll be very useful to have. And they're saying that there's going to be a general amount of bug fixes and such, which we'll be told about later on. This doesn't apply to me, but for the console players, the complexity meter problem seems to be being addressed. There's going to be some improvements to the system. Again, I have no idea about the complexity meter. I've only been reading up on the problems that it has had on console players. So whether or not this will be a major improvement or not, I suppose we'll have to wait and see. But it does sound better, more memory optimization and save game optimization. This all sounds like good information and good things to do. I'm glad they also put this system in to override performance limits, so that if you are on console and you do want to just keep going at your own risk, they're allowing you to do that. Although I do hope that there is an awareness for console players about what the possible risks of doing this could be, including sort of console overheating, crashing, that sort of thing. I hope it's not just going to be a switch it on and off job, because I think console players need to be aware about the possible side effects of what they're doing here. And that's basically it. We don't really have too much more information than that. We'll probably have to wait for the full changelog when it comes out next week. And we don't know when next week, but I'm going to assume probably a week from now seems to be likely. The Kentrosaurus is probably obviously the big thing. Again, like I said in my video on Tuesday, I'm not that bothered about Kentrosaurus. I don't think we particularly need it as vitally as, say, the smaller sauropods or some of those missing lagoon species. It's a nice animal. I'm curious to see whether it's going to come back with the Camp Cretaceous variant. It's not mentioned here or shown. I would assume, like the animals we currently have with variants, that it will be treated exactly the same way, but you never can quite tell given how all the Camp Cretaceous species have been cut, more or less, apart from Scorpius rex, of course. But, you know, Monolophosaurus and that are missing. So yeah, we don't know for sure whether the variants from Camp Cretaceous, Kentrosaurus, will be back. I kind of like the Camp Cretaceous version of the Kendro. It can stand in for other stegosaurs like Decentrurus and other things like that. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. At the end of the day, it's nice to get a free animal. Something I am curious about is when we're going to find out what the first DLC will be. Because that first DLC will be interesting to see what they do with it, and how much is going to be completely new content and how much is going to be recycled content they cut from Evolution 2. I'm going to assume the first DLC will be a dinosaur pack, because that's what it was last 2 times. Interesting to see what they do with that. Let me know down in the comments what you think about Kentrosaurus specifically. Are you happy to have it back first, or is there something else you would have rather had back first? And let me know down in the comments what sort of DLC you think would be appropriate for a first DLC after the game's launch. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more content about Jurassic World Evolution 3, but any game played by us on Triclaw Gaming, and I'll see you next time. Until then, stay safe and goodbye.